안 돼.
왜 안 되는데?
데이빗은 어때? 데이빗 좋은 이름 같지 않아?
Okay, we had the Oscars last night, but shifting to the best of cinema here at home, and in my opinion, an Oscar-worthy movie indeed. A heartwarming film about the bond between a mother and son uprooting from Korea to make the trek to a new home in Canada has been receiving so much critical acclaim since its debut at TIFF, and last winning the country's biggest film prize. So joining us live in the studio once again is Anthony Shim, the writer, director, and star, one of the stars of Rice Boy Sleeps. Anthony, welcome back to CP24 Breakfast.
Thank you for having me. This is pretty wild to be back
It
here.
really
Yeah.
is, because we were just talking during the break. We had you here before your film debuted at TIFF. And this was before it won so many awards, including, you know, the TIFF Platform Award, now nominated for 6 Canadian Screen Awards, but also a ton, and I'm talking countless awards on the global festival circuit. So how does it feel?
It's pretty surreal. I mean, back then, like you said, we hadn't even premiered yet. So, you know, like how I was feeling about the film and everything that was going on is just like night and day compared to now, where, you know, it was like we had no idea how people would respond. We had no idea if it would go beyond TIFF even. And so the fact that it's done, you know, as well as it's done is so beyond anything that me or any of our producing team could have ever imagined.
Yeah, I bet. And, you know, going back to your feeling of beyond, you know, there was a moment, I'm sure you watched the Oscars last night, when Ki-hye Kwan was talking about his own life, saying things like this only happen in the movies and now it's happening to me. So I just want to get your reaction really quickly to watching the Oscars last night and seeing, you know, so much history being made.
You know, it's crazy. I actually never watched the Oscars.
Yeah.
I hadn't seen it in maybe like 15, 20 years. And in my hotel, there's a TV, and I was like, oh, I haven't watched TV in a long time. I flipped it on and it came on right away. And what actually, because he won pretty quickly. It was like early in the show, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I don't care about this stuff. And then when he went up, I was like, oh, don't cry watching the Oscars. But it was so emotional.
It was,
and like I related to the things he was saying so much of just, you know, never giving up and being a part of this industry for so long, and to see just all the Asian actors, him, and as well as Michelle Yeoh, who won. It was like it did make my heart go like, whoa.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, no, Ki-hye Kwan, you know, talked about being a refugee and, you know, coming over for 1 year of his life. But this story, Rice Boy Sleeps, is semi-autobiographical, and it talks about, you know, I can't believe your wife in the film, she gives a remarkable performance as So Young. And, you know, just being a Korean woman coming over, being a strong woman for her son. What part of this film is biographical? Can you reveal that?
Yeah, sure. And also, you just completely outed our relationship.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Is that not? Oh my God. Oh my God.
We can cut that out, right?
Okay, we can try to cut that out. Yeah,
no, I'm kidding,
so sorry.
I'm kidding.
Okay.
But yeah.
I outed your relationship. She's a brilliant actress. Okay.
I think so.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great.
Yeah, but back to the part of the film that's real, because it's heartbreaking to see what happens, kind of just, I mean, the struggle between two cultures, the racism that little David feels.
I would say it's less about the details of the plot that's autobiographical. It's more about the emotional journey throughout the time that it takes place over, and the relationship between the boy and his mother, very much inspired by the relationship between myself and my mother, as well as the family back home. But you know, things like the illness and stuff. That's spoiler alert. That's not that, you know, that's, there are aspects of it that are fictionalized in order to make the story work as a film. But yeah, it's you know, a lot of the things that happened to the boy as a kid. Those are actually, a lot of that's actually based on real experiences and events. But yeah, I would say it's really about the overall arc that is based on my experiences.
Wow, well, I think it's a film that so many Canadian and immigrant families can relate to, just really told with such empathy and authenticity. Anthony Shim, writer, director, filmmaker, Rice Boy Sleeps. You have 2 upcoming projects. Can't wait to see what they're about. And of course, you won the Toronto Film Critics Award and also recently $100,000 in cash. So, hey, good luck to you, and we'll be chatting with you again on CP24
Now people
Breakfast.
know who I'm married to and how much money I have.
Oh gosh, all the things you don't talk about sometimes when you deal with filmmaking and stuff. But we appreciate your honesty.
Okay, let's round up the top stories of the world of science and tech right now with CTV science and tech expert Dan Riskin. Dan, you're missing out on some great cookie treats here this morning, but all right, let's kick things off here. Yeah.
Yes. Hey, Dan. So let's continue on the AI train. Is ChatGPT truly intelligent, or does it just seem intelligent? That's the question.
Yeah, so ChatGPT, a lot of people have tried it out where you can write to it and it'll respond to you, and it just seems really smart. And really what it's doing under the hood is just predicting what word should come next based on having read the internet and knowing what comes in sentences normally. And so you write something to it and it writes back what it expects you to want to hear. And it looks like it responds intelligently, but does it? So researchers took ChatGPT and they gave it some psychological tests. They actually put it through the ringer the way they do with humans. And what they found is on some metrics, ChatGPT does better than humans. On some of them, it does about the same as humans. But on a lot of important metrics, ChatGPT does not do as well as humans. And they say that the fundamental reason for that is that ChatGPT isn't intelligent. It's just predicting what you think you're going to hear in a sentence, but it doesn't actually have a model of how the world works. And so when you give it tests where it has to come up with a question to answer to figure out more about the world, it just can't do that, because even though it says a bunch of things that look intelligent and look very clever, it doesn't think at all, which is really interesting that it can look so smart, but actually not be very smart at all.
Artificial intelligence that may not be that intelligent. Okay.
Yeah, artificial indeed.
Around it, yeah. Okay, Dan. All right, coming up here, there's also a study suggesting depression should be treated with exercise.
Yeah, this is a really powerful study. More than 120,000 people in all these different studies, all put together into what's called a meta-analysis. And this really just shows that there's a really powerful tool at people's disposal that a lot of people don't realize, which is exercise. If you are suffering from depression or anxiety, the research shows that exercise is unparalleled in terms of how effective it is. It ranks right up there, perhaps even stronger than things like therapy or medicine. Exercise is just really powerful. So if you're having a tough time mentally, a lot of people don't reach for that solution, but the research really shows that it's extremely powerful.
Yeah, those endorphins, especially the natural endorphins that come from exercising, are really unparalleled. Okay, turning to this, Dan, they say money can't buy happiness, but are people who earn more money happier in their daily life?
Yeah, this is a great question. And there was a big paper that came out about a decade ago where a researcher from Princeton, a very, very prestigious research institution, a very famous researcher, showed that basically money does make you happier up to a limit. Once you earn about $75,000, any more money you're earning doesn't really impact your day-to-day happiness. But then more recently, about 5 years ago, someone published a paper that showed a different result where the more money you make, the happier you are. End of story. And so these two researchers who had conflicting results got together and collaborated. They called it an adversarial collaboration because they were against each other, and they analyzed each other's data. And what they came up with was a more complex story that I think is really informative, which is that for most people, making more money will make you happier. But for the people who are least happy, that 10% of people that are most sad, not happy in their day-to-day lives, that money just doesn't help. So if you're rich and grumpy, getting richer is not going to help you. But if you're somebody that's sort of in the normal sort of spectrum of happiness, go ahead and get a raise because it's going to make you happy.
Okay, fascinating
Interesting,
stuff.
Dan. Yeah, that's always good. Always good to chat with you. It was like weird to throw to Dan Riskin on a Tuesday, but here we are on March break. We're doing Tuesday. We'll be back on Monday with Dan next week. But thanks for all this morning. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks a lot, guys. Take care.
What's up, little brother? You good?
Yeah, I'm good. You remember Aisha?
I remember Aisha. Hey, you know
Brother is the story of two brothers, Francis and Michael, in Scarborough, maturing into young men while exploring the themes of masculinity, identity, and family. A mystery unfolds when escalating tensions set off a series of events that change the course of the brothers' lives forever. So for more on this film that made its debut at TIFF last year, we're joined live in the studio now by Lamar Johnson, who plays Michael in the film, and director Clement Virgo. Great to both have you in the studio to chat about this film. As I was telling you, I watched it yesterday and it was just waterworks. I was so invested. I cried so much watching this. Clement, let's start with you. This you adapted, you wrote, direct, produced it from David Cheriandi's award-winning novel, Brother. What made you want to tell this story on film?
You know, when I read the novel, I was just so moved by the novel. David Cheriandi gave me a gift and gave all of us a gift with his novel. And, you know, it's something that's personal to me. I was born in Jamaica. I came to Toronto as a kid. The novel is about a family from Trinidad, and the mom in that novel made me think of my own mother. So, you know, in some ways, I wanted to honor my family, honor my history, honor my mother with this film.
Yeah, and I guess honor so many experiences of immigrant families in Scarborough, which is very, you know, immigrant dense population there. So let's turn to you. You play the younger brother in this film, Michael, which is interesting because in The Last of Us, we see you play the older brother, Henry, to Sam. But the common theme here is protection, right? In this film, you're being protected first because you're the baby of the family. Francis, your older brother, teaches you the ropes, but eventually things turn and you end up being the protector of not only your older brother, but your mother, played by the very talented Marcia Stephanie Black. So what was that like, you know, going from the role of being the brother who's the baby to kind of flipping it and being the one who has to hold everything together?
Yeah, well, I mean, the dynamics are very different, you know, but I think the themes are all the same. You know, it's really just about love. And really just having someone to kind of lean on, you know, whether I'm leaning on someone or someone is leaning on me, there's sort of just this responsibility that is there. Yeah, you know, it's very much different roles. You know, Michael, he sort of, you know, he grew up without a father, you know, so he kind of looks at Francis as that father figure for him, you know, especially as his older brother, whereas Henry, you know, he lost both of his parents, you know, and his little brother is all that he has, so he has to be strong for his little brother to kind of protect him in this bleak world, you know, that is really tough and hard. So, you know, there's similarities, of course, because of brothers, the brother aspect of it, but, you know, very much different characters, different circumstances, different worlds that they live.
For sure. You know, and let's talk about that world, Clement, because it's set in Scarborough. This is, I think, the second film to be set in Scarborough in 2 years. We had, of course, the film called Scarborough, but I think Scarborough as a community often gets the stigma or the rap of being a dangerous place where, you know, it's a lot of violence or whatever, which is contrary to the data, but it kind of ignores the vitality and community that happens in Scarborough. I grew up in Scarborough. We both went to Wexford at some point. So talk about the significance of, you know, trying to show Scarborough in all of its form without just focusing on, you know, the bad.
Absolutely. You know, Brother is probably about community, you know, and I grew up in a neighborhood similar to Scarborough. I grew up in a place called Regent Park. And so when you know, as a kid, I went to Scarborough, and like you say, Scarborough is very vibrant. It's a very vibrant community. It's a very multicultural community, and it represents the best of Canada in some ways, the best of this province, because it's you drive around Scarborough and you see the multiple faces from around the world, you know, all these different, you know, you see faces like yours, you see faces like Lamar, and so oftentimes you see films that are set in Brooklyn or like LA or Paris, and Scarborough is just as vibrant, just as valid as any of those neighborhoods. And it's, you know, I think it's you know, like I say, I think it's the best of Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, let's turn to you now, Lamar, and talk about, you know, the theme of, it's set in the 90s, where the hip hop scene is just starting to boom. We see Master T on Much Music on the TV in the background. Your older brother in the film, Francis, played by Aaron Pierre, he has a dream. He wants to be a music producer. He wants to break out, essentially. And he says to you at one point in a cafe scene, there's always a chance to show the world you're not a nobody.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And eventually you could say that that really, you know, changes the course of things in his life in the film.
Yeah.
When he says that line to you, does it resonate with you in any real part of your own life story, getting that advice from him?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, there's so many parallels to my own personal story and Michael's story and the story of that family, you know, in the book. You know, him saying that and saying, like, you know, there's always a way to show someone that you're somebody, you know, meaning like people have so much to offer outside of just their circumstance or even their financial circumstance, you know, because a lot of the times, you know, it's hard for you to do things or really just, you know, be able to express yourself in the way that you want to if you don't really have much, you know?
Yeah.
So he's saying, you know, even though you don't really have a lot, you don't have all the things, you don't have all these extravagant things, there's still a way that you can sort of, you know, show yourself and present yourself in a way that, you know, you could still be, you know, still feel good in your own skin, still feel good in the clothes that you're wearing, and even in the circumstance that you are, there's still positives that you could take from that and sort of move through that and walk through that, as opposed to kind of wearing the weight of the world on your shoulders and sort of constantly feeling, you know, like, yeah, just this weight and feeling incapable, you know? It's sort of just his way of saying that you are capable and, you know, you have a lot to offer, so show that, not wear it, but, you know, truly be that, you know? And I think that's what that conversation was.
Absolutely. And very quickly, before we let you both go, Lamar, we got to talk about The Last of Us.
Yes.
Your role as Henry, protecting your brother Sam. What has it been like working on this hit HBO show that is really just like blowing up now?
Yeah, no, it's truly amazing. And I mean, we were talking about it in the back, and I think that the biggest thing for me is the fact that, you know, the show's being received so well, but also we shot it here in Canada. You know, we shot it in Calgary. So to kind of come back and bring it back here and bring it back home is amazing. And I'm so happy with the reception and the positive, you know, just connection to the show and these characters. You know, it's very much a genre piece, but it's really a story about humanity and connection and love, you know, these common themes and threads that, you know, are also even in this film.
Exactly. The theme of community is very strong in Brother. Well, listen, Brother is out in theaters March 17th across theaters all across Canada. Oh, bring out the tissue box because you're going to need it. Clement Virgo, Lamar Johnson, thanks so much for joining us. Congrats on this beautiful film.
Thank you so much.
Well, a new satellite created by a team from McMaster University launched into orbit Tuesday on board a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket. Named Nudos, the satellite measures the impact that radiation has on humans while in outer space. And joining us now is Amy Ling. She was the former engineering manager for the project until her graduation from McMaster last year. So, Amy, first off, congratulations on your graduation. And this was a collaboration between students and, you know, full-time researchers. Can you talk about that process?
Sure. So, the Nudos mission started in 2015 with one of our principal investigators. And since 2018 and being awarded the Canadian CubeSat grant from the CSA, we were able to fully develop and build a CUBE satellite, which launched onto the ISS. I believe it's docking actually in 20 minutes or so, which is really exciting. But it's been a really cool experience to be able to work with people at the university along with people in industry.
So why is it important to, you know, have a better understanding of the effects on radiation on astronauts, since, you know, that's such a small subset of the population, people who actually go to space?
Yeah, well, upcoming space flights, we hope to do a lot of longer deep space missions to really explore what's out there, because there's a really large difference in the environment, but also the radiation dose makes a big difference for people back on Earth who are associated with health risks of long-term exposure to radiation, including cancer, cataracts, acute radiation sicknesses, and other conditions like that. So we're really getting information from out there to bring back to use on Earth as well.
And how much have you learned overall from the studies?
Oh, so much. I mean, starting on a team like this in my second year of university, I had no idea kind of what kind of careers were out there, what kind of missions you could do in the whole industry of space. It's not just exploration. There's so much research, so much that goes into the learning and the building of the satellites themselves. And it's been such a huge learning experience to kind of see what everyone can do and how we can all contribute.
And you also mentioned, the overall benefits from, learning this information. What do you hope is going to be the biggest takeaway for, just the general population?
I think just getting a better understanding of what we can do and what we can learn from space exploration. Also getting programs out to other post-secondary institutions, in high schools, elementary schools, just teaching students as they're learning about what the possibilities are out there, and inspiring people to go into space research and kind of build that STEM relationship.
Wonderful. Amazing work. Keep it up. Congratulations again on your recent graduation. Amy Ling, a former engineering manager for the project until she graduated from McMaster last year. Thanks a lot.
Well, Toronto Comic-Con, presented by Fan Expo Canada, is back just in time for the tail end of March break. Pop culture lovers of all sorts will come together starting today through Sunday. And new for this year, Poke Sunday, celebrating all things Pokemon, and a family zone with tons of activities for the kids. And also, get this, I think this is pretty cool, celeb karaoke party hosted by Emily Swallow, who plays the armorer in season 1 and 3 of Disney's The Mandalorian, who, oh, look, just happens to be here live on CP24 Breakfast this morning. Emily, good morning.
Good morning.
So you're originally from Florida. You're here in Toronto.
Yes.
Is this your first time in the city?
It's not.
It's
no.
not. Okay, you've been here before, so you're used to our kind of tumultuous cold winter weather.
Yes.
But tell me something that you're more excited about. Comic-Con.
Yes.
What are you looking forward to?
Oh my gosh. Well, this is my first time doing a Comic-Con in Toronto. I'm very excited to be here to meet all the fans here. And because season 3 is sort of, we just aired episode 3, I think, and it's been a long time coming. So I'm excited to hear from the fans how their theories are panning out for all of the secrets that have been unfolding this season.
Okay, so let's talk about season 3. You play the armor, and you wear a pretty nifty costume. But I also hear it's not the easiest thing to kind of act in. You have to be. You say that you have to be still and kind of peaceful while you're in this thing, and
it's hard
to convey your emotions. But you've appeared in many series and shows dealing with, sci-fi, ghosts, fantasy, supernatural. You were in that. So would you say that this is the biggest and most challenging role for you?
Every role is challenging in its own ways. This one is challenging in that it's very difficult to walk across a room without falling on my face. But it's also, I mean, being part of the Star Wars universe is just incredible. And getting to come out to a Comic-Con like this and getting to meet fans that span every single generation and hear the stories about how Star Wars has impacted people's lives is just unreal. It's such a joy.
No, it is. Comic-Con fans, they are the truest fans, right? Just the hardcore, fans that'll be there, and they're so committed and loyal. So I know that you're hosting a celebrity karaoke party. I know that you have a background as a singer. So what can we expect from this event? And most importantly, what's your go-to karaoke song?
Oh, wow. Well, I always want karaoke to be something that is just relaxed and fun, and I want people not to worry about having to, have any polished songs worked up. I mean, there's certainly a space for people who have that 11 o'clock number that is a showstopper. If they want to pull that out, great. But I get up there and I do the most ridiculous backup dances and interpretive moves to songs. And I want people to just feel supported and like it's a place where they can cut loose and relax at the end of the day. That said, I always want to pull out a rockin' 80s power ballad.
Right.
I like to do Alone by Heart. That's one of my favorites.
How does that one go? I'm trying to get you to sing now.
Till now, I always got by on my own. I never really cared until I met you. That's
wow!
It's early in the morning.
Swallow.
You guys, it's 8:48
Look at this talented
a.m.
lady. Oh my goodness. Giving
Thank
me
you.
goosebumps this morning. I'm awake now. It's World Sleep Day, but I'm awake. Thank you, Emily.
Come and do a duet with me.
I think I might. It's
All
very
right.
tempting.
Okay.
Let's go back to The Mandalorian now. What, Emily, what was it like to step back into this fan favorite role of the armor in season 3? I know she wasn't in season 2, so many people are really happy.
She was not.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
that?
I was so relieved she came back,
Yeah.
first of all. It was amazing to get to come back and to delve more into, because this season we're really getting into more of the Mandalorian culture and finding out why there's all this tension between those of us who wear our helmets and the Mandalorians that don't wear their helmets, and finding out more about what's going to happen with those differences. There's so much that I want to say that I'm not allowed to say. So.
Well, we'll just have to watch it on Disney Plus every Wednesday. You can also catch Emily Swallow at Comic-Con from today until Sunday. Check out the Celebrity Karaoke Party. And fun fact, Emily, you were also the voice in The Last of Us Part 2 video game. So I hope we see you in the show sometime.
I do too.
HBO. Watch this, please. Thank you so much, Emily. Have a great time in Toronto and at Comic-Con. Take care.